Welcome to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.net. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. As always, thanks so much for joining us this week. Now, I hope as you listen to the show that you feel my passion, that I get change is hard. Change can be debilitating, all of those things, because change is the unknown, right? Well, I get it. And I really hope that between my guests and I, that we provide some good tips, ideas, strategies, things that are implementatable right here, right now, today, after you listen to the show. To help you on your journey of change, of course, I have a free gift for you. Go to my website and take the free communication style assessment. You get a report that spotlight your superpowers, and you also get a report that spotlight your blind spots. Blind spots are kind of important to get. Again, I think that helps us sometimes navigate change even exponentially quicker. So again, go to whitmanassociates.com/CSA for your free communication style assessment. Now, my motivational quote today is by Chris Grosser, and Chris says, "Opportunities do not happen, you create them." Now, I really love this quote because I love being in control. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a bit of a control freak. And being in control of creating my own destiny is kind of why I started my business 20 years ago. And this sounds great, to be in control. I think most of us know that control is really an illusion. And to that point, that I can only control. So what can we control, right? I can control myself and how I live my life, choices I make. Beyond that, I think that, again, that word control is an illusion. It doesn't mean I don't try to force things, even knowing this. And maybe we all do that to some extent, right? Try to force that square peg in the round hole. Instead of forcing things, though, in your career journey, perhaps if we implement some control over the factors that work and that we actually can be in control of, kind of important. So, of course, I have a guest today. My great friend and guest is Valerie Martinelli. Now, Val and I are going to discuss taking control of your career using proven strategies and skills to secure the job you have dreamt about and feel maybe like I'm ready for it now. Now, Val is the CEO of Valerie Martinelli Consulting, and she and her team help mid and senior level execs land new roles, cultivate careers, and earn massive salary increases between 15 to 60K using one-on-one and group coaching strategies. Excuse me. VMC has been a business for well over 5 years and has been recognized by CIO Review as one of the 10 most promising leadership development training coaching companies for 2019 and 2021. VMC is committed to ensuring clients are equipped with the structured tools and strategies needed to receive equal opportunities, compensation, advancement opportunities to achieve their professional goals and desired outcomes. Please help me welcome the amazing Valerie to the show. So, Val, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, always ready to have a good conversation. And because a lot of my listeners are in corporate, I think this is an important conversation, because I think oftentimes we're our own worst enemy and we think, oh, I could never get that job, or, oh, I don't know that I'm ready for that. So let's ground the conversation. Valerie, what is the role of a career coach?
So the role of a career coach can be a pretty vast one. A career coach can help you find a new role. A career coach can help you pivot in your role. A career coach can help you land a salary increase. They can also help you expand your role and expand your leadership potential. And that's something that I think is really important, because a lot of people just think with a very narrow lens that we are just here to help you land in a role. And while that's true, I've worked with a lot of people who love their jobs, but want to either take on more responsibilities or want to move up in their current organization. And that's something that we definitely do.
Yeah. And here's the next question. So I'm thinking, I want to make a shift. I want to pivot. I want to increase my leadership skills, whatever it might be, my role. How do I know that a career coach would work for me? What are some of the things that I should look at?
I would always say you probably want to talk to a few. It's really important to make sure that someone is a match for you. Like trying on a pair of shoes, you have to make sure it fits. And while that's maybe an odd analogy, but you have to make sure your personalities mesh and that their methods mesh with you. Somebody may have different methods that may not resonate for you. Somebody's personality may be a little harsher, and it may not jive with you. You may not be able to deal with that, and I think that that's something that's really, really important for people. If you want to find the right fit for you, go and talk to a few and ask them good questions. Always show up with questions. Always ask, how long they've been in business. Always ask what it is that they do. Always ask about their process. Always ask for success stories, transformations, things like that, because then it'll show. And I always find that if someone is willing to answer your questions, they're probably going to be a better fit for you than someone who's going to get upset and not want to talk and not want to answer your questions.
Yeah. And, I vetted recently someone for the automation, right? To see if that was something I wanted to do on my social media, especially specifically on LinkedIn, Valerie. You know that we've had this conversation. And when I asked him, what success stories have you had with people like me, my kind of business? And he's like, well, I don't have any. So immediately I thought, well, you're charging an awful lot of money for uncharted territory. Not that being new to my industry or new to what I do, okay, maybe you've never had a client like me, quote unquote, and I use that quote loosely. You should still be able to give me some tangible examples. Or if you've never worked in my industry before or helped a consultant like me specifically, then maybe you should discount your price initially so that you can say, hey, and I've added this to the bandwidth. So just be real careful when you ask those questions and really listen to the answer. Because you certainly don't want to, when you're looking for career advancement, right, Val, we want to get there. We want to save time. We want to save money, because on the back end, we want to make sure we're making more money. So if you're wasting all this time with the wrong person, I think a couple of things can happen, right, Val? You can lose confidence and you think, oh, this isn't for me. It's for someone else. Plus you're not making the money you should be making.
You're not making the money you should be making. And then you have to think about this as well. And this is an important point I always hone with people. What you do now will make an impact on what you do later. So if you make a big mistake now, you will be paying that price later, whether it's monetarily in your salary or whether it's taking a wrong role, whatever viewpoint you want to take on that. There's a price to pay on it.
Time is money. Exactly right.
Time is money. So
And I talk. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you definitely want to make sure that this is why you have the right person for you, and I think the other thing is too, you can't always assume that maybe what could be a good fit for a friend or a family member may not be a good fit for you either. So while someone could give you advice on that end, it only goes so far because you have to mesh with that person.
And they have to know what they're doing with the system, because all of these algorithms now, because again, right, automation and their strategies, there's tools that you use that you incorporate. I know in your program, Val has helped my boys get their resumes together after graduating. And that's not her normal quote unquote client. The career coaching is more on the higher end, but you want to make sure the person you deal with, I think too, Val, has that depth and that exposure to many industries, to many different levels within that industry to truly get a grip on the type of position that you're looking for as well. I know you're learning all the time and your clients go the vast, many different industries, many different levels. I think that's important. That depth is important.
So if they're not a resume writer, you want to make sure they have someone on staff who has that depth and those skills who can give that to you and offer that to you.
Yeah.
It's super important because technology has really taken over as far as all of this goes, like you said, and then what can happen is you can apply, and you won't make any progress really, or you'll just get denied. You won't hit, yeah. And people won't, there's only so far you can go with that. And like you had mentioned, the lack of confidence, that will eat into your confidence.
Yeah.
And then I've seen people give up with that because
Yeah.
they'll say, oh, okay, so I guess I'm not qualified after all. Maybe I was making a mistake and I shouldn't have been trying.
Yeah.
And then they stay stuck in the role that they're not happy with, or not getting paid enough, or what have you. And they stay there for way too long. And
Yeah.
then
Well, good is the
just
enemy of
the
great,
fulfillment
right?
goes away.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you that's when burnout happens and all these other
Yep.
things. Yeah. When things are good, we go, it could be worse. And then we kind of drudge along where, talking to a career coach, talking to someone like a Val might do the aha moment for you where you think, oh, wait a minute, I think I should be in transition, right? I think I should be looking for my next step. Do you think with everything that's happening now with COVID and just, the great resignation and more hybrid work environments, everything that's going on, do you think that now is a great time for professionals to take advantage of a career coach so that they can get those increases and negotiate really the job they want?
Yes. So now it is a candidate and an employee market. Before this, it was an employer market, meaning that the employer had the upper hand. But now candidates and employees have the upper hand. And currently for this year, employers have set aside probably about 4% of their budgets for salary increases for current employees. Because what's happened is, we've seen, you mentioned a great resignation. Starting last April, so many people, I can't even really put a number on it because it is in the millions. And the number has probably changed from the last time I read it. So many people quit. And a lot of them after more money, thinking, and this has been the strategy for so many years. What many do, they leave one job, advance for another to get that salary increase. Well, now this 4% is dedicated to keeping the staff that they have to make sure that they're happy, because they're spending so much on hiring and trying to fill so many roles. And then when you have so many open roles and you can't do the work that you need to do, other things start happening. We've seen that everywhere we go now, in every sector, every industry. You look at the grocery store shelves, you go everywhere. So, now they're thinking about, okay, so now this is the time to think, maybe I should learn some negotiation, and set up a time to sit down and talk to my manager, my boss, and how can I get in on that? Don't assume because they set aside 4% of their budgets,
That's right.
you're going to get a piece of that pie.
That's right. Got to ask. The squeaky wheel gets the oil,
The
right?
grease, the squeaky wheel always gets the grease.
That's
You
right.
have to ask.
Yeah.
And without
And
negotiating and speaking up for yourself,
you're done.
you're done.
And you said something real important, Val. You said you want to be part of the story. So we want to be, you don't go in demanding, I know you put money away on the side for raises.
no.
And I want,
Yeah.
that's not what we're saying at all. That's just being a jerk, right? So don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
You're guaranteed to not get a raise that way.
Exactly. But if you go in and say, hey, listen, I've really been thinking about my career. Can we chat about that and my career path and what that looks like? Can I share some of the things that I'm thinking I really would like to do in the next couple of years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. Start to share those conversations and see where it lands. So now if your boss or whoever you're talking to says, oh, no, there's, you have to stay in your position. We really don't have any growth in store for you. Well, then the writing's on the wall. You have a decision to make, right? And then you hire a life coach or a career coach to help you navigate. But if they do say yes, right? And I know you're good with this too, Val, negotiation skills you just mentioned. So I want to dig in a little bit on that. So negotiation skills, that I think we're always negotiating, whether we realize it or not. We negotiate a lot in our life, right? But I think a lot of people, you negotiate what you're going to have for dinner, right? But I think a lot of people don't think, oh, I don't know how to negotiate. Oh, I'm not good at that. Oh, I'm afraid of that, right?
Very overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, they see negotiation, I think, also as a conflict. So how do you think professionals could benefit by learning how to use that skill, right? That negotiation skill consistently, specifically in their careers? What are some of the things you discuss with your clients?
You have to think negotiation is meant to be a win-win for you and for the business. It's not an oh, look, I pulled the wool over your eyes and now I'm getting 30,000 more or whatever the number is. You can't do that. You have to think about how you're going to present your value. And in that sense, I mean, what value are you bringing to them where they're going to win when they pay you more? And when you do that, and when you learn how to do this skill becomes so easy that you will learn how to do it over and over and over again, that the frightfulness of it goes away. I've had clients that have done this. They learned how to do it once. They'll call me up and they'll be like, oh, I did it again. Thank you for teaching me. Because then they know how to go ahead and ask and just continue to do it. It's really not as hard as we think it is. I think we've put some, and I think society really has something to do with this, honestly, but I really think we've put some fear into people with this.
Yeah.
And I think with that, people tend to back away from it. And then I think there's some gender norms put into that too, which make it even harder. But I think once we learn how to break that down and learn how to communicate our value and learn how we should really be thinking about it and break away from the line of thinking we were taught. Yeah, it's huge. It's a whole new world.
Yeah, negotiation is not conflict. Negotiation is, and I love how you phrase that
communication
as a win-win. Communication, but it's a win. You win. Yeah, you get more income. Yeah, you get your promotion, whatever it is you're seeking, right, in your career. But on the flip side, the business is going to leverage your skill set at a higher level for more production, or maybe you have a mind of looking at systems and showing how to save $1 million, right, on the back end. So whatever your zone of genius, they're going to bank something, time, money, resources, gain more clients, whatever it is. But your zone of genius is going to win for the organization. So yeah, it's this push-pull, I think, is how we look at negotiations. Somebody wins, somebody loses. And that really is furthest from the truth when we talk about negotiation. The other thing too is I think negotiation skills are critical. Like I said, we negotiate more than we think in our life, both your personal as well as your professional life. So getting these improved communication skills, it's really going to help, I think, with a lot of communication on different platforms with friends, family, kids, parents, whatever that is, because we negotiate a lot. And I'll share one funny story, because my boys, Val. When my younger son, James, he was little, my cousin had a baby and I went over, and of course I brought munchkins for, my cousin. You don't go empty handed. I bought her coffee and Dunkin' munchkins. And so James now proceeds to negotiate with me the number of munchkins he can have. So I say, you can have 2 because I want 10. I go, you can have 2 because I want 10. I go, all right, you can have 5, right? Well, by the time we finished, I think I allowed him 7. So my cousin looks at this whole thing. Now I was still kind of new to parenting, right? My cousin looks at me, bursts out laughing. And she said, Oh my God, he just totally got what he wanted. And I go, he's very good at negotiating, and he's only like 2 years old. So it was a big joke. But negotiating as a 2-year-old, right? We negotiate all the time, even if
All
it's
the
the amount of
time.
munchkins you want.
And you could think about how you could negotiate even with a difficult coworker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a difficult family member. However you want to look at it.
Yeah. However you want to look at it, right? What is the process that you use, or that you hire me or someone hire you, right? We have differentiations that we I know people can differentiate me from other people who teach sales, right? So how do you help people differentiate themselves from the others that they're competing with for the same career or job or money or whatever it is?
Our big differentiator is one of the, and you froze for a second, by the way. So I'm hoping I got the whole question.
Yeah.
Tell me if I didn't. But our big differentiator is really the amount of time in depth that we spend on ATS and negotiation. I haven't seen a career coach yet that spends a lot of time on that. There's some that will say that they do, but I do a lot of mock sessions on negotiation. And the amount of time that me and my staff spend on ATS is astronomical. You've seen that.
Tell them what ATS is. Define that for everybody that doesn't know.
I'm sorry, I keep using the slang for things, and
That's okay.
it's applicant tracking systems. That is the technology behind the hiring that we were talking about before. So that is something that can really keep you from making the progress. That's where I've seen people quit when they're applying.
And here's the thing, Val, sometimes people reach out to you and they're like, look, I just need a resume and a cover letter. Or now I think it's really, a lot of times it's the resume, cover letter, and LinkedIn, because we're leveraging LinkedIn a lot. So, but this is that. We're not saying you don't need that, right? Because we still have to get through all of that automation. But on the back end, the career coaching, when you're looking for a bigger position, or that raise, that big jump in raise, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. That's when the career coach really becomes truly impactful. So understand the difference. This is more than just resume writing. This is the career coaching, where you go in and you leverage your experience to get those big bump ups in salary, or that career advancement that you're looking for. Usually what helps, Val, do me a favor and give 1 or 2 examples of a client that started with whatever, and they reached out to you and said, yeah, I think I'm capable of more. And then what was that transformation? They went from point A to point B. Describe some of that so people really understand the depth of what a career coach could potentially do.
So one client, I'll call her Jane, just to change her name. We knew she was capable of doing a lot, right? We just knew, and working together, we were seeing she was getting some pretty great offers, but there was one job in particular she really wanted. One organization she really wanted to work for, really had her eye on it. And the offer came, the salary stunk.
Wow.
Stunk like a skunk. But everything else was perfect. So I said to her, what we're going to negotiate this, and we're going to see. And the person that she spoke with went to bat for her. We gave the number that we thought that she deserved. We did the research, pulled out the comps, saw that they were coming in way under market. So we weren't just making it up. They were way under market, pulled it, went to him, and she talked to him, and he went to bat for her and got her another $30,000. Yeah.
And that's a big one. That's a big one. She wanted the job. And here's what I think we do. Well, I really wanted that job in that company, and then I'll have opportunity. I'm going to take the job, because you're not thinking about, whoa. So that's why I think career coaches, they, just like me with sales, people say I'm good in sales. Are you? Let me watch you sell. And I guarantee I can improve your sales in 5 minutes, right? I can make strategies for you in 5 minutes. You could do the same thing. So this is where I think the rubber hits the road of, yeah, resume will get you that job that you're looking for in the company and the position, but is it going to get you that 30,000 bump up? And I think oftentimes we're penny wise, dollar foolish, that I could figure it out, or, right, I know what the going rate is. Do you? Do you? Because it's really hard to find that type of information if you don't know where to look and how to look for things, right? So your resource capacity that you could reach out to really get relevant information today is different than what I might be able to seek just if I Google something. So again, that's the differentiation of, I think, a career coach is not only getting you the job, but getting you the money that goes with the job and not settling. So good for her, good for Jane for not settling and saying, this is the job I want, though, that she took that extra step to say, let me see if they'll negotiate. Because what's the worst that happened? They say, nope, we can't negotiate. Then now you're making an informed decision. They're underpaying for this particular job. Do I really want to work here? And maybe you do. And then that's okay. Maybe the quality of life that they offer is all about what you're looking for. Go for it. But now you're making an educated decision to take or not take it. Love that story, Val. Do you have another one for us? We have time for one more story because I love those
Can I add in
transformational
one
ideas.
thing?
Yeah.
The biggest mistake I see people make when they do this, they don't wait for the offer to be in writing.
Oh.
So that's something too, people learn a lot when they do this. So it's not even just getting the actual money. Sometimes if you don't do this right, you'll lose the offer completely. So you have to be careful. You have to do this the right way.
Yeah, good point.
So I just wanted to add that point. Okay, so the second one, I'll call her Liza. She also had her eye on a larger company. She had only worked for startups and was ready to just move into a large agency, wanted to get in, wanted to have just the ability to advance inside the organization instead of constantly having to leave jobs because, they're tiny startups. You can't, no advancement. Yeah. So we got her a job in a large agency. And again, same thing. She was finally able to negotiate her salary. She had her eye on a role. And again, they came in under market. And because she had the skills that they really needed. And this was really impactful because they really devalued her. And while the offer was a little lower, they came in and they gave her a $15,000 raise. This was impactful because she was able to leave her apartment in the middle of COVID and buy a house. And this was her first home. Yeah. So this was a really impactful one. And she really, this made a big difference because she was able to gain people management skills, additional technology skills that she needed for her role and for her career. And since then, she's just moved up. She's gotten into leadership.
It's wonderful.
It's
important. You not only, and it's funny because, you working with my boys, like they've gotten offers and stuff. And you've said it, here's the point, guys. And I want to really drive this home. The job of a corporation is to get bodies to do the job at the lowest price possible, usually. Okay. Unless they're looking for a CEO or a very specific skill set, then there might be more value depending on what industry you're in. But typically the job of somebody hiring you is to exploit you and get the role filled at the lowest price point. So if you stand up for yourself and you negotiate and you really are the perfect match for them, they usually will give you the extra money. So in one case, my son, said, hey, this is the situation. You're asking me to relocate. The money was not there at all. And they were like, nope, sorry. And he was like, okay, thanks, but no thanks, right? You can still look for another job. So sometimes I think we force ourselves to settle out of fear of what if nothing else comes along? Something else is going to come along. So I think we have to really navigate this one carefully. And your colleague or your client in this case not only created a better life, right? Being able to leave an apartment and buy a home. Right now she has equity and an asset. but her quality of life changed and improved. And now she was making more money, and now she's gaining more skill. They respected her and value her, and they're pushing her up that ladder even faster because of the skills that she brings to the table. You have to create these opportunities. They don't land in people's laps. They do sometimes, right? But you see it all the time, Val, that when you work with these clients and they land the job that they really want and deserve or desire, there's an effort in that. And you sometimes you have to go through that reiteration and that no to get to the right yes. So sometimes we're disappointed with the no, but it's a good thing, right?
Sometimes a no could be a saving grace. Sometimes a no is you just dodging a bullet. And I know sometimes that's not what people want to hear. And you think, oh, I wanted that job. But then later on you hear something, and you're like, oh, I didn't want to work there anyways.
Yes. I dodged that bullet.
You dodge that bullet, and you don't always know it in that moment. But hindsight's always 20/20. You will always learn at some point, maybe that wasn't the right place for me. Or sometimes, yes, you may take a job and maybe it's not the right fit, and you learn about it later. That's when I say, don't even stay for years. If it's a bad fit, it's a bad fit. You made a mistake. Yeah. You just have to be honest, and you have to move on and start looking again.
Absolutely.
We all make mistakes. It's fine. No one's going to look down on you for that one.
You're still going to learn from it.
You're still going to learn from it.
Right. From that experience, even if it's learning what you don't want in a career, that's just as valuable sometimes as what you do want, right?
Sometimes you have to learn what you don't want to learn what you do want. Yeah. Sometimes you have to learn the reverse to learn.
To get to the positive. No, I understand that. Yep. We're out of time, but really quick question. Who's the ideal client for you? Like, who can you really help create some magic in their life?
So a mid-level or a senior level corporate, we're pretty industry agnostic. So someone who is either looking to find a new role and is ready to, move on into a new role, or someone who is just ready to advance inside the role that they already have and they love. We're pretty easy that way, as far as either one is ideal in the sense that we can help you. We can either help you expand, or, we can help you find that new role and take on a salary increase that way.
Yeah, there's more than one way to get the job done, right? So if you're thinking about a career change and you're at that mid-level mark, please, I highly recommend Val. She's really remarkable. Her testimonials are outstanding. Her clients love her. She gets the job done. And for me, proof is in the pudding. Get me the results, and that's where I know that you're value added. So please email Valerie if you have any questions specific to this topic, of course, or anything related to resumes, LinkedIn, and cover letters also, because she's an expert in all of that stuff. Email her at Valerie@askvmc, Valerie Martinelli Consulting. So it's askvmc.com, or go to her website, check her out, askvmc.com. No worries. I will put that information in the show notes so you guys have access to Val and you could find her easy peasy. Anything else, Val, that you'd like to, before we end the show, that you want to share with everybody listening?
If you're thinking about doing this, don't sit on the fence. If you're thinking about it and your gut tells you you want out, or you want to expand on something, do it.
I love it. Don't let the opportunities will find you when you go out looking. I really believe that.
Don't second guess yourself.
Agree. Well said, Val. Hey, new year, new opportunities. Growth is out there. We have to look for it. Don't settle. And when I teach at my corporate clients, Val, and I'm teaching sales, but I tell them, learn, grow, remain relevant. You want to be the go-to person in the organization. You want people to know your name in a good way, not in a bad way, so that you do get approved.
Not because you got written up.
Yeah, right. So you want the love, not the detentions, right? But again, you can create those opportunities every day just by showing up. So work with Val, work with your career coach.
Don't settle. Don't
agree.
Don't do it. Life is, and if anything, if we didn't learn this through COVID too, life is too short.
Yeah.
So
Ain't that the
don't
truth?
settle. And it's a candidates and employee market right now. So this is
Yeah.
the best time.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. And
Thank you for
guys, I
having me.
highly recommend Val. She's actually one of my clients. I'm one of her clients because she's helped my boys with their journey of finding full-time work after college. And she's just amazing. Her team is amazing. So again, my personal endorsement on Val is there as well. Val, thank you so much. You know, I love you, my friends.
You know, I love you too.
I know
Thank you.
that got you, baby. It's a love fest. And I hope you will join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together that no matter what change you're facing, really, really, my guests and I care. We're here and we are trying, hopefully, to provide some good quality content for you to navigate through whatever change you're going through. Thank you again for joining me. You've been listening to Enlightenment of Change with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.net. Thanks, everyone. I truly wish you a wonderful week, inspired by change instead of looking at it from a place of fear. Really look at it from a place of embracing that change and what that can mean to your life and your family and your career and all the things that we talk about on the show for the better. So embrace that change, man. We've got this. We've got your back. And I really hope that the content in the shows help you with that. Thank you so much. And I will see you all next week. Have a great one.